You want to listen to a podcast?
By who?
Georgia GOP Congressman Doug Collins.
How is it?
The greatest thing I have ever heard in my whole life.
I could not believe my ears.
In this house, wherever the rules are disregarded, chaos and mob rule. It has been said today, where is bravery? I'll tell you where bravery is found and courage is found. It's found in this minority who has lived through the last year of nothing but rules being broken, people being put down, questions not being answered. And this majority say, be damned with anything else. We're going to impeach and do whatever we want to do. Why? Because we won an election. I guarantee you, one day you'll be back in the minority and it ain't going to be that fun. Hey everybody, Doug Collins. Welcome back to the Doug Collins Podcast. It's Friday's Finest. It's time for James and I to take you through the wonderful world of all that is and could be and maybe should be. But as you well know, we'll do we've got some interesting stuff going on. The world never ceases to amaze me at the things that are going on. But also in the real world, we always like to catch up. This week, Trump indictment in Georgia, 19 total indicted. An amazing, just as I think Jonathan Turley said it sort of well, it's just sort of a sprayed case that has just throw everything on the wall and see what sticks. And it's going to be interesting because she's wanting Fonnie Willis down here in Atlanta is trying to try everyone on the same. I think 19, going at the same time is going to be difficult, especially when some of the cases are actually, I know she's trying to put together this theme that it was to get rid of the 2020 election, but at the same point in time, some of the charges are going to be a little bit harder to stick. So just keep a watch out on that. We'll have more to talk about this as time goes on the indictments in Atlanta for Trump. Still waiting the pending arraignments and all as go forward. I thought it's very, very ambitious that she thinks that she's going to get this trial in March. I just don't, frankly, a lot of things can go on between now and then, and it's just going to be very difficult to get that to happen. Also, you still have Joe Biden, who I don't know about you, but, and maybe James, we need to talk about this here in a little bit, but I mean, does the man have an office at the beach in Delaware? I mean, because every time you turn around, he is at the beach in Delaware. And look, they always made fun of Trump for going to play golf, but at least he went back he played golf and then he go back to the White House. Obama, was this, but I mean, this is 300 and something. I mean, he's almost a third of his presidency has been outside of the White House. I mean, and it really begins to look at it when you look at the way they're doing it and how they do it. It's just like, okay, something's not right here. I mean, are they trying to, ground him? Are they trying to get him away from the White House so he doesn't, make a mistake, whatever? I don't know. But again, Biden's been on vacation this week. But interesting enough, and for the sad things going on in Hawaii, and the fires that have been going on there, and then to first be asked about it, and then he said he had no comment. It's like, you got no comment for one of the worst disasters that we've seen in a while. And I think the concern for many is they're not going to say this is a natural disaster. It could have been prevented, and there's actually some discussion, how these fires actually get started. They're going back to the electrical services and the winds and all, but there were some things that could have been done. Just a sad situation right now. All the focus needs to be on the fact that there's so many people who lost their lives. I've been to the Lahaina, and I apologize, I'm mispronouncing it. I apologize, but if I have, but it was a beautiful little town. We've had dinner there, and it is just sad what is going on. And for those that are out there helping, please do. And for those who are trying to go in and make it worse, please stay away. This is something that needs to happen. They need to get back to living their lives as it goes forward. So again, a lot going on in the world, but again, also we have the sort of the odd side of life. We have the Friday's Finest, and now it's time for that. So just after the break, James and I'll be back with Friday's Finest. Hey everybody, about Legacy Precious Metals. Legacy Precious Metals, you hear from them. We talk once a month. We talk about Legacy Precious Metals, talking about precious metals being part of your portfolio, how they're your navigator. Well, now they're not only navigating in a new way, they're actually giving you a new way to buy gold and silver. In fact, Legacy Precious Metals has developed a revolutionary new online platform that allows you to invest in real gold and silver online. In a few easy steps, you can open an account online, select your metals of choice, and choose to have them stored in a vault or shipped to your door. I'm more of a ship to my door kind of person. I enjoy having them with me, but they can do it either way, and you can now do it online. It gives you real access to a dashboard where you can track your portfolio growth in real time, anytime. You'll see transparent pricing on each coin and bar. This puts you in complete control of your money. This platform is free to sign up for. Just visit legacypminvestments.com and open your account and see this new investing platform for yourself. Gold hedges against inflation and is against a volatile stock market. A true diversified portfolio isn't just more stocks and bonds, but a different asset class. This platform allows you to make investments in gold and silver, no matter how small or large, with just a few clicks. Remember, do as I have done. Go to legacypminvestments.com and get started today. And now you've got a new tool to help you along in your investments. Hey everybody, it's MyPillow's 20th year anniversary, and over 80 million MyPillows have been sold. Mike Lindell and MyPillow wants to thank each of you and every one of you for giving you the lowest price in history on their MyPillows. You will receive a queen-size MyPillow for $19.98. Regular price is $69.98, and just $10 more for a king size. You will receive deep discounts on all MyPillow products, such as bed sheets, mattress toppers, pet beds, mattresses, my slippers, and so much more. This is a time to try out something other than the amazing products that you've had your eye on. Go to mypillow.com, click on the radio podcast square, and use the promo Collins, Collins, to receive this amazing offer on the queen size MyPillow for $19.98, or call 800-986-3994. This offer comes with a 10-year warranty and 60-day money-back guarantee. It's time to start getting the quality sleep you deserve. You know how I know that? Because I sleep on a MyPillow every night. Go to mypillow.com and use promo code Collins, Collins, or call 800-986-3994 today. All right, we're back here on Friday's Finest. James, how is the say good hello and tell us again? We've been going through this for most of the summer. How are we doing with the heat in Texas?
Well, it's not quite the beach in Delaware, but
I mean, is this just amazing?
You said that in my head I was like, Delaware's got a beach? And I was like, oh yeah, Delaware Beach. Literally the name. It's been actually the last few days have been, in the mid 90s, which here is basically like the mid 70s. So things are good. Things are looking up. I believe the rest of the week, let's see. Oh, I lied. I lied about it's looking up. Today's 108. Tomorrow's 109, 107, 108. No, we're screwed, Doug. I'm moving back to New Jersey as soon as possible.
I just put it all in the back. We're gone. Thank you for playing Texas. We'll welcome you back, Walter Cronkite. Welcoming you back to Dallas. The flash out of Dallas. Hot weather is there. It's not going to play. James will not be able to go do basketball today.
Yeah, no, I literally am. I'll be out there tonight at midnight, so it'll be 95 degrees. Anyway, but so our president's in Delaware, chilling, doing what he does.
I mean, he's not taking almost all the month of August now. I mean, it's just look. I'm beginning to think it's more just to keep him away from the press. I really do.
100%. Wouldn't you?
Oh yeah.
If you were his advisors, would you advise him to be in front of a camera or away from it as much as possible?
I'd recommend that he go back to Wilmington and go to the basement. Because I mean, every time he does speak, I mean, like no comment on the issue in Hawaii. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's they were afraid.
That was just bad, bad. As it goes,
they were afraid he was going to say something for sure.
What's he going to say? Well, what happened in Hawaii? That would have been even worse. At least compared to I have what's going on in Hawaii, and is Hawaii a state? To no comment probably is a better way to look at that. But again, for all those in Hawaii, it's just a tragedy. It's just not. In the island of Maui, it's just not a good time, and you just really pray for those as they recover. And the bad part about it is you keep hearing all these land speculators and everything calling families and wanting to sell. It's just like folks, get a life. You are scum. Let these folks try to get back into living. Some semblance of everything that has been taken to them, and you're coming in trying to steal their land, basically, or buy their land in a moment of crisis. That your moral compass is off at this point, folks. I'm telling you. When you look at it from that.
Well, that's Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
He put out a message. He was like, I know there's some of you that may want a vacation here now and all that. Go away.
Yeah.
These people don't need you right now.
Yeah. Get going.
Go home. And now you're talking about people that are just like, oh, I see an opportunity to steal something on the cheap. And it's like, there is you did bring up morals, but like, I know business, sometimes there are no morals, but sometimes you got to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, am I really trying to do this right now? Like right now?
Yeah.
While these people are quite literally suffering.
Yeah, but yeah, again, it's like, do you really? I mean, you really think about this? This is, it's just sad. Um, and to see it just continually, happening, and then just, and again, just to see and it's weird now, James, too. And I'm not, again, not trying to bring, a conspiracy set or something to this, but I mean, the fact that they're banning press, they're not letting anybody in there. If you're not, I mean, Will Kane, who actually owns property right in there, he's actually allowed on in there, but I mean, they're not allowing regular press to come in there. So it's just like, okay, what are you hiding here? I mean, press have been in war zones and everything else. Why are you not letting them in?
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's interesting. I hope it's for all the right reasons though, right?
You would
You
hope.
hope it's for all the like, hey, maybe if we don't have people here, Red Cross can do their job or whoever's running this thing and you know, trying to get supplies.
You hope so. You can get them out of the way. And like I said, it's a beautiful part of the world. It's just something that you hate to see. Hey, before we turn to sports, I do have one that would just really caught my, because we talk about, drinking healthy, eating healthy, that kind of stuff. Did you see the story out of, I think it was Florida, where the lady who killed her roommate or something washed herself in Diet Mountain Dew to remove the fingerprints? It's like, are you kidding me? Really?
Have we discussed Mountain Dew on this show before?
No, not really.
Because
Let's take
maybe
it
it
up.
was me and my brother talking about this.
Mountain Dew.
It's funny you said because we were talking about like all the things you drink, right? All the things that people drink. Mountain Dew might be the most poisonous of the sodas. If you put it into perspective, all diet soda has 0 calories, but for some reason Mountain Dew has 10. Don't there's something wrong with that. All diet sodas have 0 calories, but Mountain Dew's got 10. There's poison in there.
Yeah, not much. Well, Mountain Dew's originally, if you go back to the old, you can find some of the original cans and all. It goes back to the moonshining days. It was a Mountain Dew, and you got the moonshiner on there. You got the little bucket. The real sugar Mountain Dews. Cane sugar Mountain Dews. I mean, buddy, I used to remember drinking those and eating honey buns. And I mean, you'd be sugar high and fried for hours. We used to do that before.
You got diabetes that day, didn't you?
Yeah, we'd have. I mean, we go to practice. That's what we do. I mean, before practice or after practice, that's what that'd be our pick back up. We'd drink a Mountain Dew and moon pies, or honey buns. It's pretty wild.
Do you remember that? You're a Parks and Rec fan, right?
Oh yeah, love Park Rec.
You remember the episode where there's an episode where Ron Swanson's ex-wife comes and they all start drinking this alcohol?
Oh yeah. That's a great episode.
That's when he says it helps burn the warts off of mules. That's what I think about when I think of Mountain Dew, and that's probably what that woman was thinking about to cover up her tracks.
Probably so. But all jokes aside, for everybody out there who drinks Diet Cokes, and there's plenty all the way from the former president Donald Trump all the way down who drinks Diet Cokes excessively. Look at, and again, you talk about this, look at what Diet Coke, pour it on a battery. It will eat the acid. I mean, it'll eat the corrosion off the battery post. I mean, you can't put it on without it tearing up paint. I mean, if you leave it on, on car paint, it will take paint off. And yet we drink it all the time. And, in the original, of course, back in the original day, the Coca-Cola, the reason, it's not Coca-Cola was saying, but it had cocaine in it. It had, it goes back to the original formula. So, oh yeah, it was loaded at that point.
Well, no, I'm just saying, I think it's funny when they always have those places in New York or down the shore and they're like, this is original Coca-Cola. And I'm like, I don't think so, Chief.
Yeah.
If you're making original Coca-Cola, you're going to have more customers than you can handle.
Yeah. And you're also going to find the feds right on your doorstep as it comes. It is pretty wild. Hey, I won't, don't want to belabor this point, but we are worried about our friend, our Mets friend, who has got to be just absolutely dying this year. I mean,
we talking about Frank?
Frank the Tank. Yes. I mean, this past weekend,
he looks worse every time I see him on Instagram.
Well, it looked, it was bad over this past weekend. The Braves came in and took 3 or 4 from the Mets, and it was sort of funny because you and I talked, and that day they actually came back and won. As we were talking about that, but they got outscored something on the realm of 40 something to 10, and they went from in looking at this, just think about this. You and I were, trading sort of back and forth back at the end of May, 1st of June. All the Mets are going to be done. Now the Braves are going to take it. And literally, we're looking at the third weekend, August, and the Braves are 23 and a half games over the Mets. And really, and frankly, they're 12 and a half over the Phillies and everybody else. So
it's fascinating to see how easy it is to decline in baseball versus other sports. What is 162 games?
Oh yeah.
The first half, you could look like a star. You're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
It's rare. Think about, and not that the Mets collapsed. They were never great this season. Let's not pretend.
Yep.
But think about how often the Mets collapse and they miss the playoffs or something like that. This year, they gave you like a tiny bit of hope, and you're like, oh, Alonso's in the MVP conversation. And then next thing you know, a couple weeks later, I'm listening to New York sports radio because I still do, even though I'm out here in Dallas. And there's a man named Don LaGreca, and he's on a Michael Kay show. Shout out there, great show. And he just goes, I hate watching the Mets play the Braves because it's not worth it. He goes, don't put it on. They don't win. They can't win.
Yeah.
And I don't know what their record is this year against them, but I know it's ugly. And all time it's ugly. But you're talking about a few months, but the Mets not only are in horrible shape for obviously the end of this year, but next year and the year after, unless those prospects come through, the Mets are in trouble and they're going to lose Pete Alonso, which I don't even know how big a deal that'll be at this point.
Yeah.
But it's just fascinating to watch how bad the Mets are, and the Yankees suck too. So it's kind of great to see that too.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting. We're also, as we discussed baseball here for a few minutes, the Oakland A's. By the way, if you did not see the video, if we can somehow put that on to the video part, I'm sure James, you can put that in here. They're so bad that the pitcher had one hit back to the pitcher. The pitcher walks to first base. The first baseman doesn't cover, and the guy beats out the play from first base from the man. Are you kidding me?
We'll play it here. We'll play it here right now. But it is fascinating that a professional athlete did that, almost like he was in warm-ups.
Yeah, it was like he just didn't care. I mean, but it fits. They're 34 and 87. I think statistically they will. And I don't know what the earliest. We have to go find this out. What is the earliest a team has ever been locked out of the playoffs? And I think Oakland is going to make it this year.
Let's see. So we're looking at earliest MLB.
Yeah, what would that be?
Playoff elimination. Baltimore. The official date of Baltimore's elimination is August 10th. It tied the 1932 Red Sox and the 1962 New York Mets. For the earliest date a team has been eliminated from division or league race in the scenario we're going back through the entire history of the MLB.
Well, they came close. I mean, it's just amazing that they didn't.
August 10th.
So
they're right around the corner. Yeah, that Baltimore team was, my God.
Yeah, it was just pitiful as it goes. Well, you look at a lot of things out here as we go. Also, I'll have to say, for those of you who are soccer or as fans, football for the rest of the world, as you look at if you wonder about, is the MLS actually anywhere close to its sister organizations like the Premier League, the La Liga, Bundesliga? The answer is a resounding niet, no. Messi has come in and just absolutely laid bare the MLS.
Someone was trying to describe it to me because I said, is there something that you can compare this to for me? So I know, because I understand that the MLS is a professional sports league. However, I said, how can you compare this? And someone compared it to me, and if anyone's a basketball fan, this would be like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant in their prime going to play in a European league.
Yeah. Oh.
I was like, oh my God. And they said it might be even worse than that.
Yeah, I think it'd be more like going back and playing high school.
That's what it looks like. He scored every game.
Yeah, he has, and he's multiple score. And he's and I'm not saying he's not still an absolutely phenomenal player, but he's also older. This is not necessarily prime Messi. Okay? It's just been but we won't spend a lot of time here. I do have one for you though for football. I have to give some shout outs, to we talked a little bit last week about the first week, and we're getting ready to start the new weekend of teams tonight. But talk about chronically underrated. Chronically, nobody cares. And look, and okay, I know I'm going to talk about Georgia football. So for all of you, roll your eyes. Okay, fine. I don't care. Just listen for a second. A kid named Stetson Bennet, who's not a kid, he was older, but wins back-to-back natties. In the middle of that, after he wins the first natty, they were still Georgia fans who wanted to see him go ahead and leave so they could get another quarterback. He comes back, wins another national championship. His statistics are comparable to Caleb out in USC. Any other quarterback that was up on the list, his stats were comparable. And yet nobody thought he would be in the NFL. And he ended up getting drafted, I think it was in the fourth or fifth round. Had his first preseason game last week with the Rams played the Chargers, and they got beat. I mean, the Rams got beat. But in that game, Stetson played and threw for 197 yards.
Against backups.
But I mean, okay, then if we're going to be not critical,
he's going to be a great backup quarterback one day.
All right, look, Stetson Bennett, he's got a shot. Do I think Stetson's going to turn into Tom Brady? No, I really don't think so. This is but I do think he's been underrated, and especially when you then take the most overrated folks in the draft, such as Anthony Richardson and C.J. Stroud and the others. I mean, it's just at a certain point in time, you just really begin to wonder, again, about some of these, what we look for.
Do you think Stetson Bennett is going to be better than those two guys?
I think right now, you and me, I'll put a steak dinner on the fact that I believe Stetson Bennett will be in the NFL longer than Anthony Richardson.
I will give you, I will take that bet 100 times because Stetson Bennett will be a backup, but Anthony Richardson will always. Even if Stetson Bennett, let's say he's out in 5 years, Richardson will have a job every time. So they will keep giving that kid opportunities, no matter what.
I think you're looking at Jameis Winston.
You're crazy. Jameis Winston still has a job.
Yeah, but he never gets to play, and
that's hooey. Jameis Winston's going to be in the NFL. No, that Anthony Richardson's going to be in the NFL forever. Now, if you tell me C.J. Stroud might be out, I don't know. I'm interested in because
I don't get the fascination with Anthony Richardson. Did you watch him play in college?
I did, and
which was very little.
I saw a super athlete, and the NFL, somebody who can throw a ball that far. I know that it's all the extras of knowing where to pass, where your defender is, reading a defense, all that stuff. But that kid looks like he puts in the work. So I'm going to guess that Anthony Richardson will be the end of the season. Their team's going to suck because they're still missing Jonathan Taylor. And however, that mess is going to get fixed. That might be the worst of all of it, is that they know they have Anthony Richardson and they know he's going to need help. And they're like, you know what? Let's just screw the kid who's going to have a rushing title probably 3 or 4 times in his career.
I think the only way that one of the only ways Anthony Richardson is going to stay healthy this year is if he just freaking runs for his life every time he's got the ball.
Well, we'll see. Listen, I genuinely believe at the end of the season he's going to be in the Rookie of the Year conversation for sure, and then we'll be talking about him next year in fantasy football as the number 3 guy or some crazy thing. And in 2-3 years, we're going to be looking at him the way we're looking at Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts.
Wow.
So I'll meet you in Georgia for that steak dinner.
I'm gonna have to send you an Indianapolis Richardson jersey here. I mean, if we're let's call it www James Fan Club of Anthony Richardson.
I'm in the Anthony Richardson fan club. I'm all for it. I am. Listen, I really wanted the Vikings to draft him, but because I was hoping he would drop like crazy in some wild way, and then he would just sit behind Kirk Cousins and be like, oh, I could do all the stuff Kirk Cousins does, except I'll play well in big games. And then, Don't get me started.
What? Oh yeah, come on, come on. It's not really. Give me a break. Yeah, well, we'll see how that all works out. I got one for you. As we're speaking of football here, goes back to fantasy football, if you would, but not really because it's Michael Orr and this blindside stuff. I don't know, James, you've been following that this week. That Michael Orr is now suing the Tui family, saying that they didn't adopt him and that they cut him out of a deal for the movie rights, and that the kids and Tui family made all the money off of it, and he didn't. Then he swore that he didn't know that he was not adopted. And yet, in his book in 2011, he wrote about the fact that he was they were his conservators.
Yeah, it's a very now it's ugly because to us it was his mom is Sandra Bullock and we're all happy, right? My number one issue with the whole situation is that for whatever reason the actors have come under fire. Like they knew it was false.
Why are anybody?
What are you coming after?
The actors?
You know what? First of all, leave Sandra Bullock alone. Okay, yeah. Yes. Besides the fact that I think her partner just passed. I'm almost positive
that was sad. Yeah, it was sad. Yeah.
But first of all, you never go after Sandra Bullock. That woman is a sweetheart and a saint. But she didn't do anything wrong. The actors did nothing wrong. They didn't know that this wasn't real. If it is or isn't real,
made up story the whole time. I mean, and what would it have mattered? It's a movie.
But people got paid, and that's what's bothering him. And on top of all that, it's just what a time. I wonder. I'm always so curious as to what, it was because I don't know the full story. Is the court case going on right now, or
he filed it?
He just filed it. So what? So I wonder what's is he running out of cash from?
Yeah, he's broke.
Football.
He's broke.
Yeah,
he's broke.
So I mean, look. I hope that he has some validity to his story because then he's going to look even worse. There's some validity.
It's really interesting now, especially since he wrote the paper. He wrote the book, and he wrote all that stuff, and now he's coming back. But I mean, this is out of the regularly left paper, the Los Angeles Times, which said, here's the first paragraph. It said, Michael Orr, the NFL veteran whose life inspired the movie The Blind Side and who is suing his conservatives Sean and Luann Tui, is now being accused of reportedly attempting to shake down the couple for $15 million.
Yeah, because I see here the Blind Side lawsuit, Tui family intends to end conservatorship for Michael Orr.
Yeah. Again, it was to give back her Oscar. Why would you ask her to give back her Oscar? Let me rephrase this question. If they had wrote this, if you and I had just decided, hey, let's think of this story, and we pitched this story, had no attention to Michael Orr at all, and we got Sandra Bullock and all, it's a great story, even if it was not real, which a lot of people don't think is real anyway, but it was not real. And then, so you want to take Sandra Bullock's Oscar away from her?
Yeah, that's whatever. That's they shouldn't even be in this. They should have nothing to do with this. It doesn't make any sense. They're just actors that were in a movie. They heard a story that we all believed, by the way. It's not like one of us, it's not like one person believed it and they were like, all right, I guess we're doing this.
Here's the other thing too. Okay, and you got to go back to this again, and this was alluded to in the movie itself, but it is true. The Tuis are wealthy in their own right. Okay, he owned, and even as the little, Sean Jr. or whatever, he said we own like 6 or 8 franchises of Taco Bell and everything else. I mean, these were not poor people. Okay,
right. That's why they were able to take him in.
Yeah, and the idea that they would profit off of it, this is the thing. And again, look, people do stupid stuff for stupid things, but it is sort of sad here. But the reason is, they're devastated by, the Tuis are, of course. And it's just in petition, you learned that, he didn't learn of the conservatorships until February of this year, which in his 2011 book, I Beat the Odds, Orr wrote that he knew the Tuis had been named his legal conservators and that he had been told that it means pretty much the same thing as adoptive parents, but the laws were just written in a way that took my age into account. He knew it. I mean, his case is going to get dismissed on summary judgment because his whole case is, I didn't know this. Well, that's bull. I mean, you've already done it. So, I mean, again, it's just sad. Think about this. You had a mom who was a drug addict. You had a dad you never knew, and you had a family that took you in. And look, sometimes these cases are, they do, abuse and, the relationships and the trust. And I'm not
could have
trying
been
to
the other
that.
way. Sure.
But he benefited And should they probably included him in the movie rights? Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say
100%.
they shouldn't have. But I mean, I'm not saying they're crystal clear here. But I mean, and it may have been a reason why they didn't do it, in that sense. But he earned, and I got to find this out.
He earned $35 million in the NFL.
Yeah, and you're broke.
Well, I mean, we can get into that for days. There's a wonderful ESPN 30 for 30 you should watch if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, but I have. But again,
but that's not the point. I hear what you're saying. Like, if you are dead broke right now, like, what happened?
Yeah, look, there was plenty of folks in the NFL that could have helped you. There were plenty of folks that could have talked, agents, and you don't have to have, especially maybe a lineman. You don't have the, and we saw this in the network, the quarterback on Netflix. Mahomes has even Mariota had a chef, who cooks all his food. They have trainers, they have those kind of things. But again, when you're making several $1 million a year, you're not making several million. This is a thing for everybody out there to understand. And this is true just like in your job and everything else. They may have been making, say $15 million a year. Well, when they get that $15 million check, half of it will be taxes. Okay, so you're down to 7 or 6.5 to 7 already.
Yeah.
And then you got, your publicist to pay. You've got other things. So at the end of the day, and again, for everybody out there, please, I'm not saying get out the bleeding heart for, and the violin for these guys, but they're down to about 3 or 4 million. Okay, there are 2 million that they may actually, and then if they're stupid with their money, if they go buy a $2 million house, they buy $60 million cars or whatever they do, then they're down to nothing. And again, their shelf life, and I've got no problem with how much they make, because the shelf life for linemen, the shelf life for an NFL player is 5 to 6 years at best.
Right.
The Aaron Rodgers and the Tom Brady's are the exceptions to the rule, not the rule. And so make as much as you can, but isn't it okay? And I know Cousins still drives the minivan and everything else, and he's pretty funny. But who is the other one that actually drives the car? Oh, it's pretty famous. I think he's like a defensive lineman or something.
The only one I know who drove a car late into his career, Kawhi Leonard for the San Antonio Spurs drove a Ford Explorer from 1995 until he was to 2016.
Well, there was a football player who basically takes all of his money and he makes, and he puts he lives off of some endorsement money and stuff, but all his salary and everything he just puts into investments in the bank. And because he knows his career is not going to last, so he's putting literally millions of dollars away.
Oh yeah, a lot of guys do that. I got to be honest, a lot of dudes have been doing that, and good. Somebody's teaching them now. I know Alfred Morris did it at one point. He was driving his Mazda 626 sedan from 1991.
Yeah, who was that?
Alfred Morris.
Okay.
He played for the Red. When they were the Redskins, the Commanders for a while.
Oh, okay. Now this tells you how stupid things is. I typed in NFL. As we're doing this, I put in football player in NFL who is cheap, and it comes up with lowest paid players in the league. I don't want lowest paid players. I want them who is frugal. Maybe that's the way to put this. Frugal. Get my thesaurus out here. Gronkowski's one, by the way.
Yeah, but his endorsement money is crazy, so that's kind of unfair.
Yeah. Tiger Woods.
Jason Tatum from the Celtics. I'm just naming guys that I know from.
Carmelo Anthony, Rob Gronkowski.
Ryan Kerrigan.
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard. You mentioned him in his rehab 1997 Chevy Tahoe.
Yeah. That was it. Wasn't the Explorer? It was the Chevy Tahoe.
Matsuyama. Jimmy Butler now.
Jimmy Butler. No. You want to do a real story? Do Jimmy Butler's story.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler. He told Butler. There's a story about Butler during the Miami Heat's run in the finals. Butler had a coffee machine in his hotel room, but none of his teammates got any free handouts. Butler told Rachel Nichols he charged other players $20 for a cup of coffee.
Big face coffee,
yeah,
baby.
He said, but before the bubble, Butler said 2017 that he drives a 2017 Toyota Sienna minivan.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yep, and of course,
Jimmy Butler's that guy though. Like he's the coolest guy on the planet, so he can do whatever he
Kirk
wants.
Cousins, $84 million, and where he pays nothing in rent. He spends the summers, even after signing a contract, continue to spend his summers living in the basement of his parents' home. This was back years ago, and he drove a 15-year-old conversion van.
Yeah, no, listen. Kirk Cousins is gonna die rich, and his kids are gonna die rich because he's not spending a dime of this.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. But you like to see that, as it goes forward.
Listen, anyone who saves their money and doesn't have to end up on, doing terrible commercials or like guys who can just retire happy. There are guys in the NBA. They were just talking to someone like Magic Johnson right now. There's a man who's taken every opportunity to make money, right?
Oh yeah.
But he recently, they were asking him about the Nike deal that he turned down and would have gave him $5 billion.
Yeah.
But he's still like almost worth $1 billion.
Oh yeah, yeah. He gets it. I was
like these are guys that Michael Jordan is a prime example of dudes who just kept, and that he's a very. But then there's guys who were poor, like Vinnie Johnson, who was a pretty good NBA player, had a pretty long career with the Pistons back in the day.
Yeah.
But he invested, and he's close to $1 billion as well.
Oh, yeah.
So like, that's all you want. You just want to see guys. Yeah, of course. So I would love some of that money, but you want to see guys not throw everything away after their careers because they don't know what to do with their money.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, last comment for the day. We got on Friday Finest. So this is a good one for, as everybody knows, I'm a University of Georgia fan, but also grew up with Alabama football. So I am a Bama fan, as long as they're not playing the
university. So you're a bandwagon.
Yes, no, I've been knowing them for years. And so I was with Bama back. In fact, to show my Bama street cred, my wife, my beautiful bride, Lisa, gave me a picture of Bear Bryant and other Alabama legends back in 1987 before we got married. And because she knew of my grandfather's love of Bear Bryant and Alabama football in Georgia. So I got street cred on that. But anyway, aside from everything, I grew up with Larry Munson calling Georgia football. Larry Munson, if you ever want to see, and maybe James, we can insert the famous
I can insert a quick
couple of Larry Munson calls here. The Hobnail Boot show in Tennessee, the Run Lindsay Run, the Sugars Falling from the Sky. Just here for a second, just take a listen to a few of those. I mean, my God, they're here. The Georgia Dogs, hunker down one more time. This is Larry Munson. Oh my God, the Dogs are behind. I grew up listening to that. I mean, that was, that's football for me. But listening to Alabama football, you had in the last number of years, you've had the famous voice of Eli Gold. Eli Gold on Alabama Football Network. Eli Gold last year had some health issues. Eli Gold was not able to participate. But this year, Nick Saban is ecstatic because Eli Gold will be back behind the mic. He said, Nick Saban said, I love Eli. He's been with us for a long time. He's part of the tradition around here. I'm excited to have him back because I love working with him. A couple of great calls here. James, let's just, in just a second after we say goodbye, let's end it with a couple of good Eli Gold calls just to hear the Alabama voice. Glad to have him back. Glad that he is doing well. And it's good to have him as we go. But and we'll end the show with that in just a minute. But also, I have to say, have you, James? Do you listen to Feinbaum?
Oh God, no! No.
Oh
No.
come on!
He is so arrogant. It makes me want to punch a hole in a wall. I'm sure he's a great guy, but like when listening to him talk, I'm like, I get he's college football, but I'll get it from somewhere else.
I get it. All right, folks. Well, this is Friday's Finest. It's always good to be with you. James and I bring you the best that we got and give it to you. So as we go out, after we say goodbye, here's some more Eli Gold. And as we go out, you've heard Larry Munson. Now you get to hear Eli Gold, and we'll see you next Friday. Say bye, James.
Take care, everybody.
And we're out. We'll see you next time on the Doug Collins Podcast.